I want to give a special shout out to all my patrons first. Thank you so much to my Bibliospren, Bibliohowlers, and my Bibliomancers. It means a lot to me that you give me your extra support for my passion and hobby. Hi everyone, Petrik here. Today's video will be about all the books that I want to read in the month of April. I always find it exciting to talk about all the books that I want to read within a particular month, and especially this year, it seems like I've been having a lot of great lucks and also decision making in choosing the books that I want to read. Because out of all the books that I managed to read within the past 3 months, not counting the books that I DNF, and there are only a few anyway, but for the books that I managed to finish, there is only one book so far, and that's within this month, that I can count as a dud. I will talk about that in my wrap-up, but I think you will have an idea what that book is. But for today, let's talk about all the books that I want to read. As always, I plan to read about probably 7 or 8 books. But before that, today's video is sponsored by Brilliant. Whether it's on education, photography, video editing, languages, or any topic, I always encourage anyone willing to learn and study something new. Brilliant.org is the best way to interactively learn math, science engineering, computer science, and data science and analysis. Brilliant has thousands of lessons, from foundational and advanced mathematics to AI, data science, neural networks, and more. And new lessons are added monthly. As a reader, I like data and statistics, especially related to my reading statistics. Brilliant was built for busy people, with bite-sized lessons that break down important concepts into understandable parts. This means building daily learning amidst a busy schedule is easier now, and their visual, hands-on approach is such an effective and engaging way to learn. To try everything Brilliant has to offer free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/PetrikLeo or click on the link in the description. The first 200 of you will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. Thank you so much to Brilliant.org for sponsoring today's video. And now let's talk about all the books that I want to read in the month of April. And the first one that I want to read is the second Secret Project novel by Brandon Sanderson. I will not mention the title, you can look it up yourself, but I plan to read this one most likely either tomorrow on the 1st of April. I hope that this is not an April Fool, but if not, then I will start this book probably the day after tomorrow on the 2nd of April. But yeah, this will be the first book that I read in the month of April. Brandon Sanderson and the Dragon Steel team has mentioned that the ebook will be sent to all backers on the 1st of April. I know that some people have been pretty disappointed with the arrival of Thresh of the Emerald Sea physical books because it has been delayed for 2 months, and I actually just got my copy of Thresh of the Emerald Sea. I must say that I'm very satisfied with the product, and I am not surprised why it took this long for the book to arrive to my place, especially considering the number of books, the huge number of books they have to print, and the intricacies of the foiling in the cover art. I hope the physical copy of the second secret novel won't be delayed too long. Brandon Sanderson has mentioned if it somehow get delayed, it will probably be only about 1 or 2 weeks. It won't take a month or 2 of delay like Thresh of the Emerald Sea. Hopefully that will be the case, and it will be even better if it's not late at all, because I know many of us prefer to actually read the book using the beautiful physical copy, because seriously, Thresh of the Emerald Sea, the book is absolutely stunning, and I cannot wait to see how beautiful this book is. And this will be the first book that I read in the month of April. And then once I'm done with that, the second book that I want to read in the month of April will be the second book in the Mother of Learning by Nobody 103 or Domagoj Kurmaic. I really enjoyed Mother of Learning Arc 1, and it is kinda unfortunate that I won't have a physical copy for this one yet, because I'm waiting for the hardcover edition of Mother of Learning Arc 2 or Volume 2 of the series, but it won't arrive this year, probably not this year. And there is no way I'm waiting that long, especially after I really enjoyed reading the first arc. This is a time loop fantasy novel, and I had plenty of high expectations towards this. Many readers have mentioned that this is one of the best web novels out there, and I'm surprised by the quality of this one. I've heard from plenty of readers they enjoyed Arc 1 the most, but at the same time, I also heard that some readers enjoyed enjoyed Arc 2 and the final arc, Arc 3, the most out of the entire series. Because Mother of Learning, as I said, is a web series, originally a web series divided into 4 volumes and 3 story arcs. So yeah, hopefully I will end up loving this one, and take a look at the cover art done by Mansik Young. I think this cover art is even better than the first one, even though it's done in a very similar style with only a little changes, but it depicts the development and the confidence of the main character, Zorian Kaczynski, the increase in confidence that the character has as he keeps on learning new skills and abilities in the midst of the time loop he's facing. It is so good. I had so much fun reading Arc 1. I hope that Volume 2 or Arc 2 will be even better. And after that, I plan to read A Touch of Light by Thiago Abdalla. A Touch of Light is the first book in the Ashes of Avarin series, a character-driven epic grimdark fantasy series, and I really enjoyed reading A Prelude to Ashes this month. Prelude to Ashes is the prequel novella to the entire series. I picked that up on a whim, and I end up enjoying it very much. I consider A Prelude to Ashes one of my favorite novellas, and because of that, well, I have decided to read A Touch of Light sooner than I thought. Plus, this is also my Patreon's book of the month. So every month from now, I will try to ask my patrons. I will give them some options on which book I plan to read the next month, and then they will choose which one I end up reading and reviewing first. This does not mean that all the other books on the poll will not be read or reviewed. It just means that the one that is chosen by the majority of my patrons will get read and reviewed first. And they chose for this month A Touch of Light by Thiago Abdalla. I'm so excited to read this one. I really enjoyed A Prelude to Ashes. I hope that A Touch of Light, the first book in the Ashes of Avarin series, will be even better than A Prelude to Ashes. I heard that A Prelude to Ashes is actually a better starting point compared to A Touch of Light. So hopefully with the knowledge and reading experience I gained from reading A Prelude to Ashes first, I hope I will end up loving A Touch of Light even more. Additionally, Thiago Abdalla has actually mentioned that he planned to finish writing the entire series by early next year. This will be a quartet, so I think that's impressive. He plans to release book 3 and book 4 in a year, and you don't have to worry about getting lost, because I checked A Shade of Madness. A Shade of Madness is the second book. I checked the beginning of A Shade of Madness, and Thiago Abdalla has included the detailed recap of what happened in A Touch of Light and also a list of characters. I truly appreciate that, and I'm so excited to read this one. Once I'm done with A Touch of Light, then I want to read another self-published fantasy book, and it is The Severing Sun by Vaughn Roycroft. For this one, I heard only great things from Philip Chase, one of my friends, and also now a debut author, the author behind The Way of Eden, and he has nothing but praises for The Severing Sun by Vaughn Roycroft. And just like Thiago Abdalla, Vaughn also planned to finish writing and publishing the entire trilogy. This one is a trilogy. He planned to finish writing and publish the entire trilogy within this year or early next year. And so, yeah, I think these two, they are crazy with this very fast writing speed, and I hope these books will remain as great as always, because I know even though they want to finish writing these two series as quickly as possible, I know that both of them will still prioritize quality over speed. But for this particular book, the cover art is done by John Anthony Di Giovanni, and I think it looks absolutely stunning. It is also a wraparound cover art. See? I love wraparound cover art, and I hope there will be more to come, because I think it's kind of rare to find a wraparound cover art in fantasy now. Philip has mentioned that those who love books by Evan Winter, like The Rage of Dragons and The Fires of Vengeance, and also books by John Gwynne, like The Faithful and the Fallen, will have a good chance of liking The Severing Sun. And of course, I love Evan Winter's books and John Gwynne's books. So I am keeping my fingers crossed I will love The Severing Sun. I plan to actually read this one in the month of March, but I decided to read The Way of Eden instead. So Vaughn, blame Philip for this. And then the fifth book that I want to read in the month of April is a reread, my only reread for the month of April, and it is of course Red Rising Saga, the third book in the Red Rising Saga. I will reread Morning Star. This is the conclusion to the first trilogy in Red Rising Saga. I do not consider this as my ultimate favorite in the series, because my ultimate favorite in the entire series is still Golden Sun, and I just finished rereading that this month. I will talk about it. I will talk about my rereading experience in my monthly wrap-up. But yeah, I'm excited to read Morningstar and find out how my reread experience of this book goes, because there were some events that I remember I felt kinda a bit cheated at around the end, but also felt super satisfied to read. I don't know how I will find it on my second read. And yes, just as a reminder, I'm doing a second read of the entire Red Rising saga in preparation for the 6th book of the series, Lightbringer, which is slated to come in the month of July. And with that in mind, that means I plan to read Iron Gold in the month of May, and then I will read Dark Age in the month of June. So everything will go according to plan, and then by the time we arrive in the month of July, I will be ready to read Lightbringer, the 6th book, the penultimate installment of the Red Rising saga. Unless somehow I get an advanced reading copy of Lightbringer, then my schedule will completely change when that happens. And then the 6th book that I want to read is Wool by Hugh Howey. And yes, I am reading this because the TV show adaptation is coming in the month of May, and I better get around to finally reading Wool by Hugh Howey. I don't know too much about this one. I only know that I think this is a post-apocalypse or dystopia novel. And if I remember correctly, this was originally a self-published novel, but after that it has been picked up by traditional publisher, and the entire Salo saga has been completed now. And yeah, I really need to get around to reading this one. And now that the TV show adaptation is finally coming, and the trailer actually looks pretty good, I might as well read it now. If you have read Wool by Hugh Howey, do let me know what you think about it. And I think some people actually have made a comparison between this and Red Rising. I do not know whether that comparison is accurate or not, but if it is something like Red Rising, then I think I have a good chance of liking this one. And then book number 7 I want to read in the month of April is The Bone Shard War by Andrea Stewart. This is the 3rd and final book in the Drowning Empire trilogy. I really loved The Bone Shard Daughter. I also enjoyed reading The Bone Shard Emperor, and hopefully The Bone Shard War will be a satisfying conclusion to the entire trilogy. I actually just finished reading The Bone Shard Emperor today, so I still have to gather my thoughts before talking about it. I certainly had a good time reading it, just like with The Bone Shard Daughter, but I do not know which one I actually like more between the two. I like to leave it probably 1 or 2 days before I write my full review. But anyway, I will talk about my thoughts, my full thoughts on The Bone Shard Emperor and my monthly wrap-up. But yeah, The Bone Shard War, the 3rd and final book, will be a big priority for me to read in the month of April. And finally, once again, I know that some of you might think of this as a joke, but at the same time, I really rely on my reading mood to finally read this one. So this is Curse of the Mistwraith by Janny Wurts again. This is the 3rd time I'm featuring this on my monthly TBR, and believe me, this is not because I do not want to read it, but because this book just feels intimidating. The language used here just feels quite intimidating for me to read right now during my hectic schedule. I've read To Red Hell's Chasm, the standalone novel by Janny Wurts, and although I enjoyed that one, it also took me longer than I expected to actually finish it. And I know it will take me about the same number of days or probably even longer to finish The Curse of the Mistwraith. So it all depends on my reading mood, even though this is actually quite a big priority for me to at least start reading this year. So if I feel like I'm in the right reading mood to start something this intimidating and complex, I will start reading The Curse of the Mistwraith in the month of April. Let's see whether that will finally end up happening in the month of April or not. So that's all the novels that I want to read in the month of April. As for manga series, I plan to finish another one of my sudden reread of Vagabond by Takehiko Inoue, and also catch up to the latest chapters of Jujutsu Kaisen. I didn't manage to catch up to the latest chapters of Jujutsu Kaisen this month because I end up doing another reread of Vagabond by Takehiko Inoue from the beginning again. But I think this month I managed to reread Vagabond until volume 25 or 27. I cannot remember correctly, but yeah, somewhere around that number. So I plan to finish my reread within the month of April. So that's it. That's all the novels and manga series that I want to read next month. Do let me know what you think about the books that I've chosen to read in the month of April. And of course, do tell me what books you plan to read in the month of April as well. Do you plan to read The Secret Novel by Brandon Sanderson? Do you spot books that you enjoyed in my monthly TBR this month? So yeah, that's it for me today. My next video will be my monthly wrap-up. And as always, thank you so much for watching and thank you for your support. Bye bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.